Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the Marvel fan site that I have plot synopsis and character bios for this issue. We're continuing our run of covering Marvel superheroes Secret Wars. And we are now in issue number 10. This is from 1984. Against the Beyonder to the Death. So when I was young, I picked up these issues sporadically because unfortunately I didn't get all of them. So when I was growing up, I actually ended. So I didn't have the first two, and I think I had three and then four, but then I did skip five. You know, it's just so hit and miss. And so I didn't know how this story ended till many years later. I have all 12 issues now in great condition. I bought them it was before COVID, so they didn't cost an arm and a leg. I think I got all 12 issues for $80 at that time. So, all right. Death to the Beyonder. And so, if you remember, we ended our last issue with Galactus eating his own headquarters. And the heroes are like, crap. So the Thing says, let me get this straight, Reed. Since we prevented him from eating this godforsaken mall ball we're standing on, he's eating his own homeworld. And Reed Richards says, right, Ben, and once he's recharged with energy, you can bet he'll be back to have us for dessert. And so here we have all our heroes. Of course, we have our credits here with Jim Shooter, who was editor-in-chief of Marvel at that time, the writer Mike Zeck, penciler, and John Beaty, his loyal inker. And so Reed says, cover your eyes or you'll be blinded. And Iron Man says, big deal, we're going to die in seconds anyway. Who wants to see it coming? Iron Man during this time was James Rhodes. And so you see Galactus eating his homeworld. Here's the Beyonder. But then something happens, and it says here the energy is ripped away from him. And Spider-Man asks, what's going on? And Reed says, I'm not sure. The energy, it's moving that way, says Captain America. I love the shocked look. Even Iron Man has a shocked look. And it's headed toward Doom Base. And Human Torch says, this can't be Dr. Doom's doing. We left him in prison along with the other bad guys. And Rogue says, who else then, Torch? And so Captain America orders Captain Marvel during this time was Monica Rambeau, to go and look. So she heads towards Doom Base. And she sees him there. And so she thinks here, incredible, somehow Doom escaped the cell we locked him in and constructed that fantastic machine. It looks like he's using it to draw all the energy into himself. And so as she watches it, she was going to get away, but Professor Xavier says, Captain Marvel, stand fast. This is Professor X. I'm telepathically linking your mind to Reed Richards. Allow him to see through your eyes. He is best qualified to interpret for us the meaning and significance of the events you are witnessing. So I like this. I like the look. I like how... So you can tell here by the way the drawings are done that Mike Zeck was drawing this in a hurry. There's a lot of skimping on backgrounds, and the figures are very simple. And so Dr. Doom gets up and says, "It is finished. The power is mine." And then he goes, "What? What is happening?" And so he's feeling the effects of godhood. Essentially, I love the interpretation of this, but he's he's he can feel everything. It says in here, I can feel every atom, their textures, their quivering movements, the dance of infinity. And so he can feel the prisoners, and then, of course, he says, and I'm aware of all things, including a spy. And Captain Marvel says, uh oh, and I love the screen tones being applied here. And Professor X, something's wrong. The mind link has been cut off. And Reed says, that's not good. Captain Marvel's in trouble. Quick, to the X-Men ship. And the X-Men ship has been trashed. And so they're like, how the heck is this going to fly? Of course, Magneto is going to use his powers. I like saying Magneto because I think it's the correct uh, term. It's magnet with an O. If it was Magneto, it would be spelled different. So I've switched. I used to say Magneto like all the common folk, but it's Magneto now for me. And so he uses his powers and lifts the ship, and they're gonna head toward a Doom base here. Of course, they're gonna criticize Magneto because he's was evil and all this stuff, yada yada, coloring mistake because they have his cape red here. And Wolverine is gonna take a stand and actually defend Magneto, and he says, "What you don't understand, Cap, is that we mutants are at war. Always have been, always will be. You with your highfalutin ideals. You're the champion of the American dream, fighting for liberty and justice, but only for your own kind, for humans, for regular Americans. But just stand by while mutants are being persecuted, don't you? When have you ever fought for our rights?" As Wolverine, he's Canadian anyway, so Captain America doesn't fight for Canadians. Wolverine, silly Wolverine. And so Wolverine continues. Some of the God-fearing Americans you protect hate mutants, and when they come after us, it's a lot like how the Nazis went after the Jews. Xavier wants us to hide to try to help humanity earn acceptance, but then they keep threatening you and yours. It's easy to play like Magneto did. Fight back. Take the offense. Drive him into the sea if you have to. Now, though, Professor X has convinced Maggie to lay off, to stop taking the expedient route. Stop using noble ends to justify violent means. And still you won't lay off. Sort of makes me wonder if Magneto was right. And Captain America says, nothing justifies terrorism or murder, as Colossus and Cyclops hold him back. This is what I mean. Look at the figures and look how simple they are. I mean, this dude was basically, these are just inked doodles or layouts. I don't think John Beatty even tried inking this or fixing it. And so Wolverine says something very interesting. Terrorists, that's what the big army calls the little army. I actually don't agree with that. Terrorism is terrorism. When you are using weapons and killing mass amount of people, that's terrorism. So, all right, and Wolverine goes, I used to have some respect for you. So we go back to Doom, and he's watching the Beyonder, and he's like, thinks that he can try and take him on. He doesn't concern himself with the heroes or like dust to him. And so now he's thinking how to get to the Beyonder. He doesn't want to be second fiddle. Doom wants to be God. He wants to be the best there is. So he's not going to. He needs to take on the Beyonder. And so first thing he does is he fixes his armor, and he says that he has a sling. They were talking about David and Goliath. And so Doom explains here, I knew something of the Beyonder, for when first he spirited us to this world, I attempted to invade his portal. It was brutally repelled, but now before my armor's computers analyze his energies. A few simple adjustments based upon the data, and borrowing some technology from the device Galactus meant to used to absorb the energy of this planet. I have I have my sling concealed in the breastplate of my armor. So he means the sling that David used for Goliath. I must get very close indeed to the Beyonder if I hope to use it. However, within an arm's length. But then David had to brave the giant spears to draw within range. And now, Claw, I go to walk through the valley of shadow of death. Farewell. And so, right as soon as he leaves, here come the heroes. But Doom is gone. And Captain America says, let's go check on the prisoners who are all there. And so they find Captain Marvel, but she is like in a hologram. Doom has affected her. Lovely color holds. And so they're asking, where's Doom? What's he up to? And he tells them he went to fight the Beyonder, and suddenly you get like this big earthquake here. You can see it on the thing, kind of like, oh my god. And so he tells them again here he's gonna go fight the Beyonder, and Captain America says he's insane, and Claw says that's why we get along. And of course, we see the Beyonder here says, stop, you cannot approach me. And Doom, so arrogant, then approach me, coward, on your knees. If you have knees, come, cringe before your master, grovel before Doom. I tell ya. Ugh. Captain America says, go get everybody, we need everyone. And Reed says that it's definitely shockwaves from the Beyonder and Doctor Doom fighting. And Reed says, we need to Galactus. And Iron Man says, don't we have enough trouble? What if he tries to kill us again? And Reed says, he may, but if Doom should give up his attack on the Beyonder and turn his attentions to us again, the only way we stand a chance is with the power of Galactus on our side. But that's definitely what Doctor Doom already has. So Reed says, there, now if we can just lock a tractor beam on those coordinates. And so there's another shockwave, and you can see here She-Hulk and Spider-Man actually was able to catch her instead of the thing. And here we see Reed underneath the stuff. Of course, he's elastic, so he's okay. He pulls him up, and he's like, can't catch my breath, he says here. And so they're looking at the planet that's getting devastated here. And Colossus says, Hulk, please, can you focus on the village we once occupied? And they see Zaji here, and he's in love with her. And he says, if only I could be there, but that's not who she loves. She loves the Human Torch. I must tell him. So he says Zaji's been injured, and the Human Torch, what a jerk. He says, huh? I've got no time for that Chippy now. Reed's hurt. I'll send her a card later. And Colossus is like, Chippy? And so then there's another shock. And look at this, just destroying everything as Doctor Doom and the Beyonder do battle. And Doctor Doom is just getting crushed. You can see, look at this. He lost a leg. He's gonna lose his arm. He's just, oh, poor guy. He's like, thus falls Doom. No. What is pain to one such as I? I will shut it out. Other men fall prey to the very specter of death. When her cold embrace seems imminent, they simply swoon into harm. But I am Doom. I deny you death. Victor Von Doom must not die. Oh, what an arrogant little dude. So, Doctor. Professor X says, everyone beware. I says something approaching, something awesome. And Spider-Man agrees because the spider sense is coming off. And Doom appears, and talks to the heroes, and he says he basically needs their help. He's saying, "I'm your champion, fighting for your sakes." Um, the battle has gone well. Even now, the Beyonder cringes in terror, uh, mar- marshaling his failing strength against my final assault. Hence this lull in the strife, he says. Um, which has allowed me to appear to you and offer you the chance to share in my glorious conquest. Lend me your power, to hasten his certain defeat. Come, who will join me against our common foe? You have but to touch my hand. Who shall be first? To him, after our victory, I shall grant power beyond measure, which to further his noble purposes, of course. But no, I speak the truth. You feel it, do you not? Come. And so Magneto's about to, and before he can reach, here come the heroes. They're like, yeah, no. And so this is what they did to Doctor Doom during the Onslaught stuff. So it's kind of funny. The heroes are like, nope. So Doctor Doom ends up appearing. Magneto doesn't take it well, and he's like, unhand me. And so the Hawkeye's like, you see, X-Men, your buddy here tried to throw in with Doctor Doom. And so Captain America's like, that's enough. We were all tempted. I suspect that Doom was exerting some sort of mental control, and maybe Magneto got a biggest dose. So, um, basically, it's all good. And so here we go. It looks like we have a defeated Doctor Doom, and he is just there in silence. And the victor approaches. If you remember, he needs to get very close to him, and he does, and we get a bit of his origin. So I'm going to kind of go and skip it. Everybody knows Doctor Doom's origin. If not, check out that website that I linked at the bottom, and you can click on any of the characters and get their origin and all that kind of stuff. So Doctor Doom, very Darth Vader-ish like here. And so there's another shockwave, and Cap is like, we gotta get the villains out of here, they're gonna die. And here comes Wolverine, and he helps him. And heroes do what heroes do. And so he lets, I love this costume for Wolverine. And so he lets the villains out. The villains, they're like, get out of here, and they're like, sure thing, pal. And so Wolverine and Captain America are running, and Wolverine says, don't think this is the wrong way, but you're a better man than I give you credit for. I'm an attacker and you're a defender, but we're both soldiers. I'm beginning to think you got room in your highfalutin ideals for all people, don't you, even if they're mutants. And Captain America says, some of my best friends are people. So, all right, so everybody gets away, and Doom Base has collapsed, and they're like, hey, it stopped, and suddenly it's all quiet again. What gives? And Hawkeye says, look up there. And here comes a big thing of light, and it's coming closer, and look at this. The Beyonder is dead. Now the supreme being in the universe is Doom. And the heroes are like, crap. What the heck? This is a good splash page here. And so we get here to our last page here. What's going on? Oh, sorry. This is going to be the fight of our lives, says Captain America. On my command, attack, and don't stop. Don't let up, no matter what. We must find a way. We will find a way to win. Ready? And then Doctor Doom shrinks himself, and he says, stay your hand, Captain America. Absorbing the Beyonder's vast energies caused my form to swell to enormous proportions, but I am not what I wish to be now. Then let me return to my human proportions so that we may speak easily face to face. And so you can see he takes off his mask. First, know you these things, that Beyonder no longer exists, and Doom has been reborn. Thus have two evils come to an end. There's no enemy left to fight. The war is over. And it says here, we strongly suggest that you read the next issue, on sale in 30 days. So, what do you guys think? It's a cool series. This is how you do comic books. It's fun. This series has everything you could possibly like. Uh, so I like it. So, Marvel Superhero Secret Wars number 10, Jim Shooter and Mike Zeck with John Beaty. Like and subscribe. I do thank you for listening. Goodbye.